Hey dudes, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be answering some relationship questions. We're using the Romance Academy cards. You drop something in every video. We're using the Romance Academy cards and also some questions that you guys have sent in on Instagram.
Does falling in love with someone make life better or worse?
I don't know, is it exchanged?
That's a tough question. It depends who you fall in love with. You can fall in love with someone that isn't right for you.
Oh, the drapes!
No, like, you can fall... I need to start staying light, but like, you can...
It can do both. Generally it makes life better because it's a nice thing to be in love with someone, and it can bring you a lot of joy, and like it can bring good characteristics out in you, like wanting to make them happy, wanting to do things for them, say nice things to them. But at the same time, because love makes you really vulnerable to someone and like really makes you put yourself out there, if you get hurt by that, then it doesn't really make life better. But I do think that would then it would ultimately in time make you better.
But I was also thinking, but you don't know if you're in love with someone?
Well, that's a new question then. How do you know if you're in love with someone? Have you ever been in love?
I mean...
We've had this issue in the other one, in the other video.
I wouldn't say I was in love. I mean, no.
So how do you know that you weren't in love?
Just didn't feel right. Like, it was like this gut of like, I'm not actually in love with this person.
At the time, did you think that you were in love with them?
At the time, yeah.
Before I'd ever been in love, I hated it when people would say, when you know, you know. Because on one hand, once you've been in love, it's like, oh yeah, that's a really good way to explain it. But if you haven't been in love, it's just not helpful at all to hear that, because you're still very much left in the dark about it. I would say you kind of get like a peace about it, like a reassurance. So if you're asking yourself like, oh, am I in love? Like, do I need to be looking for certain things to tell me that, or like to work that out? Then you're probably not. What are the dilemmas that young people face that adults don't understand?
That's an interesting question.
That is an interesting question because we're kind of in the middle of that age bracket. So you guys could probably answer that way better than we could. So leave your answers in the comments. Okay, here's something that you guys can tell us if this is true. Because obviously, Rosie and I are youth workers. We go to a lot of youth work events. We work with a youth work team. And the thing that everyone is saying at the moment is that you guys, your age, you really value authenticity. You want to interact with people who are genuine and say things that are truthful. You haven't got time for anyone who's fake. Would you guys say that that's true, that a dilemma that you face is people who aren't authentic? There you go, question for you guys.
Turning it back around. Your friends tell you they don't like the person you're in a relationship with. What do you do? I will interrogate them and find out why they don't like this person. I trust my friends enough to know that they'd have a good reason for not liking the person.
Because that did happen to you.
It did.
And yeah. Rosie had a lot of different people kind of giving the same message, but a lot of people went about it in different ways. Now in retrospect, looking at all the different ways that your friends tried to tell you, what do you think was the most helpful way that they communicated that? Was it the people who were just straight up like, Rosie, ditch him, he's awful? Or was it the people who were totally the other end of the extreme and they were just sort of quiet and listened to you, sort of, okay?
It was sort of people in kind of the middle, because I didn't really listen to the ones who were straight up dump him, and the ones who'd listen. I mean, they were great, but...
So if you're the person who is involved romantically at that point, maybe just be open with your friends and listen to what they say and really try to think about it objectively. But equally, if you are that friend, like, understand that that person has feelings and that they are in a state of love and romance. So there's only as you know, they're only going to hear you if you're speaking gently to them, and also understanding where they come from, because it's a hard thing to hear.
What is the next question?
Do you need to like yourself before you can love someone else?
Oh yeah. I actually have an answer for this.
Me too. Yes and no. I don't think you need to like yourself in order to have those feelings for someone else. But I do think you need to like yourself in order to treat them well and to invest properly into a relationship. If the other person is, you know, always saying to you, you're so good looking, I love you so much, and your response back to them is, why, I suck, or like, okay, well, I'm actually quite ugly, you know, that's causing conflicts. Like, that should be a really nice thing to hear from someone, and also, like, you're then kind of discouraging that person who's just encouraged you, and so it's just like, it just doesn't really work very well. And then also that kind of, people can get confused in the relationship about whose job it is to try and help you like yourself, and things can just get very complicated, and unfortunately things that could have been great turn out not so great.
I mean, it's a good question because I struggle with this generally. In general relationships with people, I don't take compliments.
She doesn't.
It's very hard for me to take compliments from anyone. That's just because I am still learning to like myself and like who I am. And when I was with someone, that was a big strain because I didn't like who I was, and I'm still, well, as I said, I'm still on this journey of liking myself. So I think that you do need to like yourself before being in a relationship with someone. Otherwise it's going to be a massive strain on the other person, not even romantic, even in friendships, because you're not gonna like take anything anyone says as being a nice thing about you, because you're always going to see yourself as being someone that sucks.
If you don't like yourself but you're in a relationship, and let's say that you are able to really invest in that person and you're really pushing them forward to be their best and focusing on them, so you're not taking away from that person, you can then get distracted and kind of forget that you need to be looking after yourself as well. If they love you back, they're going to be wanting the best for you, and they can't give you that if you don't like yourself. That's something that only you can fix. It's a tricky subject.
Oh, this is an interesting question. In the future, if you had the chance to marry a robot, would you?
No.
Probably not, no.
I thought you were saying probably.
No, I would want an actual human. Robots can only fulfill so much. I meant, like, they can obviously, like, you can, like, they'll actually listen to you and do, like, they will instantly do things like clean the house, cook. What else do robots do?
I don't know, I've never met one. But then at the same time, the most important thing that I would value in a relationship is sharing the same faith and beliefs about the world and God. And I just don't think there's ever going to be a time when robots have the capacity to do that.
What? Okay. I did order food, but they cancelled my order. It's fine.
Why? She literally just hopped back and reversed her phone. Subway, what the heck? Unbelievable.
Whose go is it?
Mine. Just pick one up for myself. What is the best piece of relationship advice you've ever been given?
I've been given so much.
Really? I can't think of a single thing, which is obviously not true because I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos about this sort of thing because I was a bit desperate in high school.
Well, I've been given a lot because I have a godmum who basically it's her job to talk about relationships. She's always got to just be really sensible about who you date. You should go look her up called Rachel Gardner. She gives some great advice on. I mean, I am just picking up Rachel Gardner now. Sorry, but yeah, you should Google her or YouTube her because she gives some great advice on stuff. How might having a religious faith affect someone's relationship? I know as a Christian, like there are like certain boundaries that are there that Christians wait until they're married to have sex, like,
or at least preferably they do.
Also, it's nice to be in a relationship with someone who has the same beliefs as you, because then you don't like have to feel like you're the only one.
Yeah, like the first thing I always think of for stuff like this is that if I wasn't in a relationship with someone who was religious, or at least in the same way, I'm just like, if I got seriously sick at some point and I wanted my partner to pray for me, if they didn't do that, like if they were like, oh sorry, I don't believe in God, I don't really do prayers like that, then like I'd be gutted. I don't know if I could deal with that. But in the same vein, if they were like, yeah sure, like I'll give it a go, then like going back to the theme about authenticity, like they don't really mean it in the depth of their heart that I would want them to, or like some stuff they just wouldn't be able to understand in the same way. And obviously, like, there are people out there who aren't believers who are amazing listeners and will just do their absolute best to understand and are fantastic people and totally accepting and respectful. But if I felt like God had said something to me and I needed to clarify that with another Christian, I would find that difficult not to be able to share that with my partner and them not really be in tune with God in the same way that I would be.
If you wanted advice about relationships, where would you go?
Here, to our show.
I'd go to my best friends first because they're closer.
Why laughing? I'm sort of laughing along politely, but I'm also very confused.
Because you're just here. Like, you're easy to access. No.
I'm not any good, I'm just close by. Are you trying to compliment me?
No.
No, you're not trying to. What, you're trying to insult me? What is your game here? Be authentic.
Anyway, we'll just leave it there, and then I go to my godparents.
Okay. If I'm in a relationship, I'd go to people who know me and my partner very well and have seen us together and how we interact. I would also go to people who know me on my own, and then they might have different insight that's not influenced by my partner. But first of all, my friends, because I just think they'd be the most compassionate about it. That means you.
I'm the least compassionate person.
But you remember what we were talking about it being hard to like be in a friendship or relationship if someone doesn't like themselves? That was meant to be a beautiful moment.
Sorry. Right.
You're forgiven. Why do you think people choose to get married?
Because... No, I was going to say something and then it was like, no, I can't say that.
I think...
No!
But also because... What are you doing? What's up there? Is that, you've got a boyfriend up there? But also spiritually, from the Bible, that's just the example that God's given as the best way to go forward in your relationship. And I trust God's opinion on that.
Should you be friends first before you start dating?
Ooh. Should you?
I did in an ideal... Well, yes, you should. But sometimes it doesn't always happen.
Do you tell the truth even if it hurts, or lie to make someone feel better? Oh, that was an inner battle! Go on, tell us. What happened?
Nothing happened.
Are you lying to make us feel better? Are you lying to make you feel better?
You should always tell the truth, even if the person taking the truth is gonna get really upset by it, because it's better to tell the truth than to hold something inside that you're then gonna regret. And lying to someone is just awful and you should never do it.
Yeah, and the truth will always come out somehow, and it's just so much more painful if you find out that someone's been lying to you. like, even if it hurts, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because some things can hurt for a time but have really long benefits. So for example, if you had a problem in your relationship because your partner, they're being quite selfish about something, it's way better to lovingly tell them that, and then they can be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll fix the problem. It's an act of love to be truthful to someone, even when they do stuff that's not great. Like me and Rosie have that sometimes. Like sometimes I ask her, is there anything that I need to be like improving on that I'm not great at? And I force her to tell me because she finds it really difficult. But ultimately I really appreciate that she's told me that stuff, because I can't grow as a person unless people who have different insight can tell me where my weak spots are. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with someone that wasn't able to lovingly tell me how I need to improve as a person.
Should you put your friends or your relationship first?
Why are we both so nervous about this? Are you okay?
Yeah, there's just stuff in my glasses. So I can actually...
Lenses?
It's a really hard one, because I'd want to put both of them first, but that's not gonna happen in an ideal world. I don't know, I'd say I'd put my friends first. But that's a bit, yeah.
But is that good or is that not good?
It's a bit 50-50, isn't it?
I've just thought of that advice, and okay, this might sound cocky, it's not advice that anyone else has given me, it's advice that I thought of myself 2 days ago. My advice for anyone for being in a relationship is, while you're dating that person, don't forget to date yourself, don't forget to date God, and don't forget to date your friends. And I don't mean those in a romantic way, because that's a bit weird. Since I've started investing my own time with God, like every week I take God out for an hour for a coffee date. Obviously, like I do other stuff with God in the week, like pray and go to church and stuff. But having that one-on-one time with him is amazing, and that's done so much for my faith with him. I've learned so much stuff has come out to me. And I love going out with my friends and just going to sit in McDonald's for hours and hours and just chatting. And I think if I was in a relationship now that I have those things in place, my relationship would just be so much better. And it's kind of a bit gutting that I didn't know this before, because that would have been great, but it's good, so sad.
Well...
Thanks. Good thing this isn't the friendship show, because you shouldn't be here. What is the best relationship you've ever seen, and why? They might find it weird, because like they don't know me like insanely well for me to say this, but I have a friend called Sam, and we used to go to church together, and his parents are called Bev and Patrick. Their marriage amazes me. They're amazing. Just the way they treat each other, the way they speak to each other, is so kind, and I just think it's amazing.
I was thinking of Howard and Wendy.
Oh, Howard and Wendy!
They're just so cute.
Howard and Wendy are a cute old couple from our church, and they help to look after all the staff team at our church, including us. And they're so, they're amazing. What do you love about Howard and Wendy?
I just love like how they just like talk to each other, and just how they're so.
Oh, he calls her Wen.
Yeah, just the nicknames and the cute, like they're just cute. Like
yeah, they're really sweet.
She'll bring out cake, and then he'll go and like.
He'll be like, I'll get the tea. Oh, don't you sit down, don't you know? Oh.
Never mind.
So you're leaning on the drapes, and I can just hear rustling, and I'm like, that box is gonna fall on you. And I think it's got bagged flour in there or something. It's all the cooking stuff. There's definitely a whole jug of like vegetable oil or something.
You can't. No, like you can't ever. It's what you.
What? This isn't even a sentence.
I don't know. My head's just going everywhere. My head's thinking faster than my mouth can process what I'm trying to say. I think we'll leave it there, yeah, because
you're also halfway off the screen. Like, my head's going everywhere. Yeah, your head is just going over there. Oh, we've done that.
Yeah, I know. I put it back in.
Why did you do that? What a good prank.
Right.
Could you imagine staying committed to one person for the whole of your life? Yes.
Nope. Is love for real or all in the mind?
Ooh. Well, it's all fake. We've wasted a really long video of answering questions about it.
I don't know. This is like, I guess it is for real.
But then if you take this question as a spiritual question, then the answer is obviously yes, it's real.
Yeah.
Because the Bible says that God is love, and I don't think God creates something that's fake. And also, if God is love, and he like made all of us to live how he thinks is a good way to live, obviously he thinks it's good for us to love others. So why would he just make up some little psychological scheme where it's not actually real? Like, God, I think God is a God of authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
But just because it's real, it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt sometimes. Like, some people might get hurt by love and therefore, as a defense mechanism, say that love isn't real, it doesn't exist, it's not out there, it's not going to happen for me just because of one bad experience. But I don't think that means what you experienced was fake. Oh, I got the nod of approval. I got that of approval. I should get a stamp for that or something.
No, you shouldn't.
Now, I did ask on Instagram for some of you guys to give in questions if you had any, and we have had a response. One of my best female friends has just got into a relationship and I'm happy for her, but I'm concerned it could impact our friendship. Am I being selfish or is this normal? I think it depends why you're concerned. If you're concerned because you think this partner isn't very good for her, then yeah, I would say that's a normal response to have her best interest at heart and care about her safety, whether that's like emotionally or physically or whatever. Or if you're just worried, if you're worried you're going to get less attention, then I'd say that's normal. But like, if that's the case, to an extent, that might just be something that you have to accept and understand. I would just like have a little think through with yourself about what the reason is, why you're worried it might impact your friendship. And if it's something you can sort of figure out on your own, like, oh, okay, maybe I'm being a bit silly and I don't need to worry about this, or actually no, this is a real concern and I need to do something about it, then just talk to her and be honest. Like, if she's your friend, she'll understand, and if you're her friend, she'll know that you're saying it in love and that you just want to be gentle with her, and you're just, it's because you value your friendship with her that you're worried. So just see where it's coming from in your heart and then deal with it in a wise, sensible way.
Shine a light on me,
Shine
a light on Gemma.
Are we going to do a song at the end of the video?
No, I promise.
This looks very weird. I've got one knee and one... I mean, I've got two knees, but like...
I don't think she's lost a knee during the course of filming.
You lost your head several times. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed our little chat about relationships. If you've got any different answers to the questions that we answered today, feel free to drop them below and start a friendly and respectful discussion about it. And we will see you next time. Bye.
B.
B.
Yeah. Do you have a problem?
Do you have a bee?